So now let's talk about adding sketch relations. So in this case, we have a couple of lines, circles and arc, and I'll start by selecting this line. So when I select this line, you can clearly see that we now have this flyout with these relations. So we have the horizontal relation here, the vertical one and the fixed. These relations are also available here on the property palette. So we have horizontal, vertical and fix. Now you can apply these relations either from here or from the selection flyout. In this case, I'll apply it from the property panel. So I'll click on this horizontal and here it is. Now it's completely horizontal. I'll just click outside and then I'll select this line. Now I'll click on vertical and it will become perfectly vertical. Also, you'll notice that when we add the relations, this green colored relation icon will just show up right next to the geometry. It will also show the icon of relation which is added here to this line. So this one is horizontal, this one is vertical. Now with this relation, you cannot change the geometry. So it will always remain vertical. This line is always going to remain horizontal no matter what. Now if you want to break this relation, if you want to delete this, then just left click on this relation, then right click and select delete. You can do the same for this. Left click, then right click and delete. Now you can freely move this geometry once again. Alright, now let's select the geometries again, but this time I'll select two geometries. So I'll select the first line and the second line. And now we have more relations between these two, and that's because we can add more relations between these two lines. So these lines can be horizontal, vertical or fixed, which was in the first condition. So that still exists, but apart from that, you can now make these two lines collinear, perpendicular, parallel or make them equal. So we'll talk about these one by one. Let's first start with this and this line, and now I'll select collinear. When you make it collinear, the lines are going to align along the same line. So there it is. That's the collinear. They are going to remain along the same line. Now let's press Ctrl Z a couple of times and again select both of these using Control Select. So whenever selecting these two, you need to press and hold your Control key. Now I'll select perpendicular and now it is perpendicular. Though it may not look like it is actually perpendicular, but when you increase this length and just move it close to this, it will drop exactly at 90 degrees. So it is perpendicular. Alright, again Ctrl Z a couple of times. Now these two are already selected. As you can see, it's highlighted. I'll select parallel and they're now parallel and they're going to remain parallel once you've applied the constraint. I'll press Ctrl Z again and now apply equal. And the length of these two will become equal. Now if you change length of one of these, the length of second one will also change. But in this case, as you can see, when I'm trying to change the length, it is just moving the entire geometry with it. So in this case, I will make one of these points fixed. So maybe I'll select this point and now I only have one relation, that is fix. So I'll click on fix. Now this point is fixed. I'll click on this point and I'll move it. And as I'm moving it up, this one is also moving it. And here the length is also changing equally. So that's how the equal constraint works. So again, I'll press Ctrl Z a couple of times so that all the relations are now gone. Okay. So these were the relation between lines. Now let's see what relations we can add between a line and a circle. So Control select both of these and now we have relations like tangent, fix and equal curve length. Let's start with tangent and there we have it. The line will become tangent to circle, which means if you increase the length, well, there it is, there it goes, it's tangent. If you move your circle, it's going to remain tangent no matter what you do. All right, press Ctrl Z a couple of times. And now the next relation which will apply is equal curve length. Now fix, you already know about that, so we'll skip that. Equal curve length will ensure that the length of curves will become equal, which means in this case, circumference of the circle will become equal to the line length. So I'll select equal curve length. There we have it. Now the circumference of the circle is equal to the length of this line. Now you can see this in a better way in this situation. So here we have two circles. Let's select both of these. And here we do have this equal option, which will kind of do the same thing that this equal curve length will do. But here I'll use this equal curve length, and there we have it. They now have the same circumferences. So same radius and same diameter as well. So I'll press Ctrl Z, and now let's see what other options we have. So again, so we have seen all the relations between a circle and a line. Now let's see the relation between circle and circle. Now in this case, we have options like co-radial. We'll see that in a moment. Tangent, you already know about that. So we'll skip that, and now concentric. So now if you select concentric, both the circles will share same center. And if you move any one of these, the second one will move with it. All right, Ctrl Z, both the circles selected. Now what else we have? Equal. So if you select equal, well, both of them will have same radii or diameter. And then equal curve length, you already know about that. Now let's talk about co-radial. And we can understand co-radial in a better way using these two arcs. Now both of these arcs have different radii, as you can see. Well, now I've changed the radii, well, significantly. And if you want to make them co-radial, well, then select these arcs. First one, second one. And now again we have the co-radial option. Select this. Now once you make it co-radial, it will kind of become part of a single circle. So if you extend it further, it is going to merge exactly at a point which is on that circle. So this is what the co-radial is. They are going to share the same circle when extended further. So that is the co-radial option. And these are the different constraints or relations that you can apply. Now this is not the limit. You can still apply constraints between all the different kind of geometries. For example, you can select this midpoint, and then you can select the midpoint of the circle and then apply any of these constraints. For example, we have this merge constraint, which is kind of a different constraint which we have not seen so far. So here it is, apply merge, and these 2 points will merge together. Also, you can just select maybe this line and this point, and then you can apply the midpoint constraint. So in this way, you can clearly just move midpoint of this point exactly on the center of this circle. So these are some of the intelligent constraints or the relations that you can apply between different 2D geometries.